and possibly trying to be constructive at the same time with all these initiatives which are going on, we also have learned our lessons. Our narrative for the last couple of years has been that we are a transit country in between Central Asia and South Asia, and I used the word was. That was our narrative. But unlike some of you, unfortunately, we are not waiting for the South Asia anymore. Either you put your acts together, or we, or the rest of us, already feeling disconnected, further pushed away from South Asia. We are having our own new identities along the Central Asian lines and, going further west in line with what we discussed yesterday, that countries are, aiming to go north, east, west, south. So Lisa said China being a common denominator for all of us. We didn't wait. We did not wait. And it's my pleasure to announce that we are trying to inaugurate our Lapis Lazuli corridor in 2 weeks' time. Shipments from northern Afghanistan will start reaching Europe. So with this news, putting things into the political context, we are hopeful of the developments in Pakistan, we are hopeful of the developments in India, but at the same time, as a more ambitious, perhaps younger member of the family of the SAARC member states, we try to do things differently. That was what I said last year when we were in Kathmandu for the South Asia Economic Summit. We feel pushed out of South Asia. India is trying to make efforts to bring us back. Chabahar and rest of the efforts. The unfortunate reality is that we cannot directly trade with India, India being the largest market for our products. But again, as I said, we have learned our lessons. India fantasized of working in this region. We tried to do peace talks, the rest of the negotiations, reconciliation, even a ceasefire. All these efforts being failed, and now the narrative shaping up in my country is that we no longer are fantasizing with this. Unfortunately, our trade volume with Pakistan declined from $5 billion to $500 million. And instead, the Air Corridor Initiative, now we have with 8 different countries, 2 air corridors with India, Delhi and Mumbai, are increasing our trade volume with India by 40% already. So these are the different measures we are taking, and at the same time, we wanted to pass this message that we were not bluffing. When we said that countries have options, if this sub-region perhaps can work amongst themselves, that's good, but we are trying to move west to the Central Asia and the rest of the options. Back to the technical agenda on the transport, as well as on the energy, the update from my country, from my part of the world, is that the Lapis Lazuli corridor, which is a new regional platform connecting Afghanistan to Europe via Azerbaijan and Turkey, is picking up. It's a secure transit via road and railway, and that goes through Balkans and Eastern Europe. So in the next 2 weeks, we start shipping out our goods and products. That's number one. And number two, our colleague touched upon the developments in the Chabar. We urge Americans to perhaps exceptionalize this particular project from the sanctions. We are actively working with our partner countries to have this pick up. Some parts of the port is already being functionalized. Some shipments are already being dispatched via Chabar to Afghanistan already last year. I already updated you on the air corridors. The third, the fourth one being the 5 nations railway. Working with China, Uzbek, Tajik, Turkmen, and Afghans, we have this other option of connecting to China through this 5 railway nation project, which is the feasibility is going on. On the energy, as I said, as a land bridge transit country, our vision was to connect Central Asia to South Asia, and that's my comparative advantage as a transit country. And we used to do some of these efforts last 17 years. We gave a lot of energy to the CASA project, to the TAPI project, to the TUTAP project. Some of them, the TUTAP is standing for Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, energy market. Central Asia being so rich of clean energy, and South Asia in demand of this energy, Afghanistan as a land bridge, a transit country could perhaps contribute, connecting. And also, the philosophy for us was not economics. The philosophy for us, again, was this philosophy of interdependency. Using these projects as a peace dividend, making people dependent, and along those lines, we could perhaps sustain peace and security in the region. Besides that, the update on TUTAP is that the procurement of the 5th phase is going on, and the contract is going to be awarded end of next year. Similarly, for the TAPI project, which also India, which also being a member, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, a gas pipeline is making progress. The steering committee meeting was held after the project was officially being inaugurated, and implementation started in Afghanistan. And the steering committee meeting recently being held in Turkmenistan on 22nd of February is monitoring the developments. The other project, of course, being the CASA electricity market. CASA 1000 is another similar electricity transmission project, bringing surplus energy from Kyrgyz to Tajik, and then Afghanistan being a transit country, transmitting electricity to Pakistan, responding to some needs of the people. This is a 1,300 megawatts of electricity. This is a World Bank-sponsored project. Procurement is already being complete. Implementation is ongoing as we speak right now in Afghanistan. The other project, another energy project, making Afghanistan an energy hub, connecting all these Central Asians to South, is the TAP project. Tajikistan, this is Turkmenistan. Again, Afghanistan and Pakistan is a project of 400 megawatts of electricity transmission being implemented. So in general, while not much happening perhaps in the South Asian part of this sub-region, there's some activities going on very calmly and effectively in the western part of this subcontinent. ADB and the rest of our partners are having active partnerships, and also the other positive development being the Tajik, Uzbek type of improvement in their relationship. A new government in Uzbekistan is proving very business-oriented and helpful for all of us to reconnect again and regain our position. So with all of these, when you look into the map, Afghanistan, every single energy transmission project from Central Asia to South Asia must go through Afghanistan. And we can't be bypassed. And this is the positioning we have been continuously trying to communicate. On a final note of a few recommendations, Nagesh Bhai, from what we have learned as a younger member of this beautiful family, where we also play cricket with you, if not much of a connectivity projects, we can't blame everything on India and Pakistan, and particularly not Pakistan. If this other part of this part of the sub-region is working, you mentioned a term BBIN. This is standing, I think, for Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, and Nepal, perhaps Sri Lanka as well. One initiative could be that please go on, don't stop, don't wait. Let's not keep things holding because of India and Pakistan or Afghanistan. The second is institutions. Solari Saab yesterday mentioned this, and we continuously for the last couple of years participating in these forums. We argue that our institutions, based on our experience working with you in South Asia and Central Asia, we believe that our institutions are not designed to be doing multinational, multi-billion dollars in transmission or international projects along the regional agendas. Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs or External Affairs or Economy or the rest are not being trained to conventionally do all these projects. I think there's a need for us to reform, redesign, change, and adopt. If there is some political will, things happening, but the institutional difficulties and challenges is stopping them. On a final note, again, on the recommendations, a means for trust building is small projects, joint small projects, bilateral projects, if not a regional project, can be helpful. We need to also show one successful example. While I didn't put a very positive note with respect to our engagement with South Asia, but still, all these energy projects that I mentioned are picking up, and in the long run, perhaps when successfully being implemented, is having those effects of peace dividend and the rest. So that could be working. In a final note, one other suggestion is that we have already started doing this in Afghanistan. Build your domestic infrastructure with good faith that that could be turned part of a regional infrastructure in future. Thank you, sir.